Without wasting the time, let's dive directly into what direct proportion and inverse proportion mean. So I have taken two examples here, one from direct proportion, that is of books and its price. For example, there are two books and its price as 200. So if I increase books to 4, what will be the price of the books? Obviously it will be 400. So how did you say it? Because you know that when you increase the number of books, the price of the books also increase. So if you show it through arrow, the both arrows should be upwards, because when you are increasing one quantity, the other is also increasing. But please keep a focus here that, see, you have increased the quantity to a double. That is, first there were 2 books, now you increased it to 4, because see, you have doubled the number of books. So what happened to the price of the books? It also doubled. That means ki when you increase the books to a double, when one quantity is doubled, the price is also doubled. That is, the other quantity is also doubled. Now let's take the same example again with another scenario. That is, now we have 4 books and the cost of the box is 400 rupees, right? Now if I have 2 big books, the price will be, obviously you will say that the price will be 200. Now in this case, you have decreased the number of books and the price is also decreased, because in direct proportion, when you decrease one quantity, the other also decreases, and when you increase one quantity, the other also increases. So when you halve the price of the book, that is 442, the price of the book also has halved, right? That means when you solve it also, you will get the same answer, that is x is equal to 200. Now let's come to inverse proportion, where I have taken the example of speed and hours. For example, there is a car that travels 60 km per hour in 2 hours. Let's suppose it travels 60 km per hour in 2 hours. Now if the speed is increased to 120 km per hour, that means it will reach the distance in less time, right? So that means if the speed is increased, the time will decrease, right? So because you have increased the speed, you will reach before time, that is 1 hour. In this case, when you look at the scenarios, when you see that if one quantity is increased, the other decreases. The same goes for the examples of labor versus work. So in this case, how will you solve it? The tail shows the numerator and the head shows the denominator. You will write it this way according to the arrows. Now let's solve it and you will get the same answer, that is 1 hour. In the beginning, when I gave you the example, I have written the answer directly, but when you solve it, in that case also you get the same answer, that is 2x is equal to 2. Now x is equal to 2 by 2, that is 1. Now let's take the same example again, and now let's see that the speed is, in this case the speed is decreased. So that means see, when you compare it with your real life also, what you see is when the car has greater speed, you reach before time, and when the car has less speed, that means you may be late, or you may reach late or before after that time, like that. So see, in this case the speed is decreased, so the arrow will be downward, right? In this case the arrow will be downward, and in this case the arrow is upward, because the speed is decreased. Now the time will be increased, right? So that means you can solve it this way, and when you solve it also, you will get the same answer. Like you always have to do the cross multiplication because it's simple. Otherwise you can also opt for other methods. 120 by 60, that is x is equal to 2. Just like in the beginning I have written it directly, but in both cases you get the same answer. So what you have noticed is, in the inverse case, what you have noticed is when the speed was halved, what happened? The hour was increased, right? That is, when you double the speed and the time halves. What did you notice? That when you double the speed, the time halves, and when you half the speed, then the time doubles. You can notice it through several examples that are also given in your box, that this happens. And same is the case with the other one, as it's inverse proportion. So what will happen is, when you triple the speed, the time will turn to 1/3, and when you 1/3 the speed, the time will triple.